Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good whatever time it is from wherever you're watching us from. Welcome yet again to Tony's Pod. My name is still Anthony Mutugi, and I welcome you to this episode, to today's episode. It's a chilly Friday evening in Nairobi. We've experienced a little bit of rain. We thank God for the rains. Though, say for the cold, July is coming, and as someone would say, winter is here. Yoni movie gani? Where we say winter is here, winter is coming. I know, you all know. But winter is here. We're trying to keep warm, taking lots of tea. Hopefully not too many babies will be made in this month. Just be careful. Remember, the cost of diapers is still high. Anyway, welcome back to our podcast, where we always work to inform you, entertain you, and above all, educate you. From politics to society, we're always here to speak the truth, to unpack the headlines, and always give a voice to the people behind the stories. Everything you hear today reflects the events and context as of 20th of June, 2025. Well, welcome in, join on board, and let's move to wherever the story leads us. So, today we are playing local first, playing international in Nigeria. And a question that I would like to ask, bra or no bra if you were to choose? Would you choose to have the bra on or off? Well, that's a lady's question, of course, because what would you be doing with a bra as a man? Why would you be wearing a bra as a man? Okay, so there's this university in Nigeria called Olabisi Onabanjo University, where the university was checking to see whether the students were wearing bras before exam. Well, if they were not allowed to sit for the exam. That sounded quite controversial to me, and actually, the funny part is that there were some student leaders in that university that were defending the policy, saying that it creates a distraction-free environment. I guess this student leader must have been a dude. He says that when a lady comes to sit for the exam without wearing a bra, he's distracted. So, to ensure that there's no distraction-free environment, the university would check whether the lady has put on a bra. And what would they do? They would take some of the female instructors or lecturers, or let's call them staff, wanaguzaguza kifua ya wanawake kusikia kama kuna bura ama hakuna bura. Kama hakuna bura, just go home and put on a bra, then you come back to sit for your exam. Well, from my interaction with most ladies, don't ask me how many, I've come to learn that the bra is not actually their favorite cloth. Go and dispute with your elders. When a lady gets into the house, kitu ya kwanza najaribingi kutoa ni bra. They actually have a very mysterious way of removing the bra without even removing any cloth. The sweatshirt is on, hata maybe amevaa what, maybe even a coat or a suit, but they have a mysterious ways of just clicking on some buttons, inatoka. And it's always mysterious, especially as a man, seeing how they pull that. Would I be able to do that? I don't know. For me, as a man, I always look at that superpower of the lady removing the bra, kama bado amevaa nguo, as one of the supernatural powers that ladies possess. I mean, I think my least favorite clothes is the socks. I don't like socks a lot. I only wear them because you don't want to go ukinukishia watu miguu or when it's cold. But how I wish I could remove my socks without removing my shoes. That would be really great, won't it be? Well, This was viewed as a policy that felt more sexist and actually degraded women, and felt like the university was taking a more sexual approach to this issue. I also felt that it is really embarrassing. Just imagine someone touching your breasts just to ensure that you have a bra before the exam. Ain't it something weird? If you ask me, it's weird. And actually, you would expect this if the university was a religious school, or if the whole of Nigeria was a religious state. Well, this looks controversial, and I don't know what your thoughts are, but I would really like to hear from you. Bra or no bra? You address your choice, right? If you don't feel like putting on a bra, then why are we bothering you? If you feel like putting it on, then good riddance. See, you've not revealed you've not revealed your naked self, if you are in a bra or not. Bora tuoni. If that would be my 2 cents about that. Well, this is something that affects the ladies. I won't be able to talk much about it, but I would really like to hear what you guys have to say about this. Let me know in the comments. Let's come back home to our very own Mulamwah. Mulamwah pulled on some really, really typical baby drama, but I think this is baby mama drama on steroids. Got me remembering of Baba Ryan and Mama Ryan, and how they are always antagonizing each other. Well, Mulamwah is a Baba Ryan of Kalamwah, and these two, Mulamwah and his chick Ruth, I think it's Ruth, anaitwa Ruth ama nimesahau jina yake. Yeah, Ruth K, decided to wash their dirty linen in public. And of course, as for us, whatever you give to us, we always take it willingly, analyze it. After all, it's in the public. What is it doing there? So we try to check and analyze what was going on. Well, for me, I would say that I would warn Mulamwah on the dangers of an emotional man. As a man, we are naturally wired to think using our logic before our emotions. Well, with ladies, it's a different case. Ladies will think with the emotions first before the logic kicks in. Well, it's not a matter of logic versus emotions on which is more important than the other, but they are equally as important, which actually comes to answer the question of, should you use logic to think or should you use emotions? Both are important, and that's why men need women and women need men. Let no one lie to you that as a man you don't need a woman. As a man you need a woman, and also as a woman you need a man, because we are built differently, we think differently, but we are complementary to each other. I'm not a person who really follows about the personal lives of celebrities. I always say, if you're a content creator, then give us content. I will look at your content. I will critique what you've done with your content. I don't like going to the boundaries of family. But now it comes to a point where if you've decided to put it out there for us, then people will do what they are going to do. And the worst part about Kenya is that you can never know whether something is true or it's clout chasing. Just the other day, we were having an issue about Daddy Mato. He was beating up his woman, blah, 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 blah. And there is always this notion of this is a happy couple, nini, nini. Only to realize that that is not the fact. Well, I won't talk about that much, but what I would always like, and I always try to advocate, if you are out here on the streets, you are a celebrity, or you do content, or whatever you do, you're in the public space. Man, keep your personal life to yourself. Keep it, the personal people, those people who your family or people who you hold dear. Ensure that they are not on the camera. People should not necessarily know them, because I look at some of the celebs in Kenya. Who knows Bibi Churchill? Nani anajua Bibi Churchill? and is one of the most successful celebrities in Kenya. Well, I'm giving that as just one example among many more, where people have their families, but they keep them intact. And that way, you can never attack what you don't know. I think if we didn't know if we didn't know who Mulamwah's woman is, then she wouldn't be attacked as much as she did. But the worst part about it is not even about knowing each other. You can be both celebrities. We can't describe on how you're going to live your life. If you really want to put your woman in the limelight, or you want to put your man on the limelight, then good riddance. If you want your son or daughter out here in the public, well, good for you. We can't restrict you. But for me, personally, I advocate on keeping your personal life to yourself. It will really save you a lot. And as I was looking at this Mulamwah issue and the expose, I think by now most of you have heard, exposing nudes, both of them exposing nudes. There was also the issue of nirudishie meno. I felt, in as much as maybe Mulamwah would have been offended, he stooped too low. I've been in a position where you are in a relationship that is not working, or you are fighting in a relationship. But I've always drew inspiration from Joseph, the father of Jesus. Well, Joseph, the father of Jesus, or Joseph, who was the caretaker of Jesus, because he was not the real dad. When Joseph realized that Mary was pregnant, and he knew, anajua Mary anamwambianga, aki Joseph, aki mimi ni bikra, kiasi umse yako na ball. Joseph wonders, Mary, you've been staying, but now we wait until marriage. Kumbe kuna jamaa imegonga kitu bwana. Well, Joseph thought about it as he was making it, anafanya carpentry yake. Then he was considering, I think it was in the middle of a heartbreak. Anagonga tu, anagongelea misumari. Maybe hata alijigonga hiyo siku. And then he decided, I'll leave this woman. But you know what? I'll just leave her chini. Matthew chapter 1 verses 19. What does it say? Listen. Matthew 1 verses 19 of how Joseph wanted to handle this issue. Okay, because Joseph, her husband, to put into context, that's Mary, was faithful to the law, and yet did not want to expose her to public disgrace. He had in mind to divorce her quietly. Alikuwa anataka tu kumwacha kisirisiri, silent mode. Kwa anataka kumwacha tu kimosad, chini ya maji. I believe if things are not working out with your person, it's possible to walk out without having to cause unnecessary drama. We didn't even actually have to know on whether you are together or not. It's none of our business. And we actually won't help you in any way. At the end of the day, the people who will help you are not the people of the internet. It's your family, it's your people, and they are the only ones who will suffer. What still? There's a kid in the picture. What will this kid grow up seeing? Chakula ya mtoto ilionyeshwa. It was exposed outside there. And then his father's manhood and the Karura forest that is beneath there is also exposed. There's no need to wash your dirty linen in public. And actually, Mulamwah, I feel you really stooped low. If your woman wants to go the attacking route or nini, you don't have to follow that. Ikifika ni vita ya mdomo, whether you are right or wrong, I don't think that there's any man who would beat a woman at an argument. It's very difficult. So difficult. So the dignified thing as a man you do is to walk out. Draw inspiration from Joseph. You can decide to live silently. Chini ya maji. Well, I know what heartbreaks does to a man, but sometimes you just have to cut your losses. Mulamwah, I think he was feeling, msichana nilipatana na yeye kama hizi sema za Buddha. Then nikamnunulia meno, akaeka meno, I fixed her smile. Now she's going to smile at another Negro. And I'm here watching. I'll be suffering. Well, you have a Benz or you have a lot of money. You can always get another woman. and maybe even a better one. But even before that, try to work things out between the two of you, kwa sababu yale ambayo mlikosana ni between the two of you. And if it doesn't work, si lazima, si Nairobi ati tunasema ati lazima you work. Relationship si Nairobi, tuna force kama venye Sakaja na force Nairobi work. If it doesn't work, you can always leave. So that about Mulamwah, I think for me, I really felt a little bit disgraced. I saw a man who is clouded by emotions. And the danger of a man being clouded by emotions, especially emotions of love, is the things you can do. Go check out on the number of people who are in prisons because they did something out of emotion, out of anger, when they couldn't control it. You feel bad, you feel angered, you do something that you will actually cost you jail time or even your life. And such things happen at a moment when emotions are high and you cannot control your anger. Then unapata umepiga mtu, umemdunga kisu. You actually didn't intend to do it. But then, since you didn't intend to do it, it's already happened and someone is hurt along the way. And when this person is hurt, then you gotta face the state. And there is no excuse for harming someone. I'm not saying that is what Mulamwah did, but I'm just trying to place a context in the dangers of being clouded by emotions. So most of the men in prison are actually in prison due to matters love, something that someone could or would have controlled. If you feel that emotions are running high, I usually remember there was a time I was in such a bad relationship that tukikosana, I would just walk out and go chill somewhere by the river, watch the birds, watch the water, calm my nerves and then go back. But if you are there, you are being provoked time after time after time, then you might end up doing something that you will regret. It's always dignifying to walk out. And then hurling insults, exchanging insults with a woman won't bring her back or won't make her sorry. If she doesn't respect you now that she's going to the extent of exposing you in WhatsApp groups, I don't think or feel that there's anything that you would do to gain her respect back. Actually, the Bible says that men should love their women as God loved the church. And women are advised to submit to their husbands. Women are not told to love their husbands, and actually the love language of men, kwa sababu nimekuwa nikisikia, what is your love language? My love language is submission. As a man, if you really love me, submit to me. Listen to me. Well, some will say, it's not the era of submission. Whatever you say, I'm entitled to my opinion, you're entitled to yours. But for me, I feel my love language is a woman who submits. But in as much as she's submitting to me, I'm also obligated to submit to a higher authority, which is God. So, as a man, if you expect your woman to submit to you, then you also have to submit to God first, and then He will lead your ways. He will help you guide your family. You will be the preacher in your family. You will be the provider. You will be the protector. So, about Mulamwah and this exposing of nudes, I really felt you are way above that. Meno umerudishiwa, hata ukirudishiwa utafanya nini? Although I felt that was atiwe udema lengoa meno na pliers. How true was that? Can you sustain the pain of pulling out a tooth with a pliers? Well, the worst part about Kenya, as I had said earlier on, is you can never know what is true and what is just scripted for the sake of cloud chasing. Don't be surprised if you come to realize that this is a cloud chase. We've witnessed this quite a lot. Anyway, tuachane na ndoa za watu wawili wakijifunika kwa blanketi moja. Mambo yao hatuwezani nayo. Sisi ni kupiga tu mdomo, tunapiga. Anyway, another sad story that happened the day before yesterday is about the shooting of a young man called Joel Austin Maina, who was shot at Dome area in Kasarani. Well, there were rumors that were spreading online that the person who shot this guy He's called Peter Langat. So in context to the previous outcry of the murder of Albert Ojwang in police custody, people were claiming that Peter Langat was actually the son of DIG Langat, which has actually been confirmed to be not true from our very own independent media journalists. The #1 Kenya journalist on Twitter, Cyprian Nyakundi, he confirmed to us that it was not Lagat's son. And that is one of the perfect examples that I usually give of why you should not be quick to deliver punishment. Why police should not just come and abduct you and then kill you or render justice to themselves. Sometimes it can be an issue of mistaken identity. I remember when this issue of DIG Langat started, and actually the number of the son was shared, I really felt bad about it, and it's unfortunate I didn't talk about it. Well, it's Kenya anyway, there's always too much to talk about. Some things you talk about, some things you don't. I felt it was really unfair on Lagat's son that his number has been shared, anasomea wapi. Sometimes even I've been in situations where you are someone's son or daughter, but you actually don't support what they do. A case in point, there was the Moi's son who was a rally driver. That guy, I think he was called to or something. That guy was not for whatever Moi used to do. He was against what his own father used to do. I'm also a living testimony that I had issues with my dad, and at some point we couldn't come to a mutual agreement, and I said, then there's no need of us having a relationship. I recognize you as a father, but as my dad, but we have to disagree because there are some issues on principle that we cannot come to terms with in as much as you are my parent. And even to date, I don't regret that decision. So we should not transfer someone's sins to their kin. So just imagine people decided to look for Lagat's son because they have the details on some, your father killed someone and then you've also killed another one. And it's not true. Then you end up doing the wrong thing. You end up losing a life only to realize that, hey, ilikuwa mistaken identity. You are not to render justice. Let justice take its course. If someone has done something wrong, take them to court. And actually, I don't know why people don't. Prison is not a really good place. There's something that one of my senseis, masters, whether he knows it or not, Mwafrika Mwaf of the Ikonini podcast, says that when someone takes you to prison, you can only equate him to someone who has killed you. So rather than kill, why wouldn't you take this person to prison? They will suffer more there, won't they? Hapo ndipo watahisi. But once you kill someone, then they are not there to feel the pain anymore. They are not there anymore. They are just out of this world. So back to this Austin Miner's case. These are the facts. These are the details that we have so far. So the shooting occurred at around midnight. This guy, Joel Austin Miner, was delivering alcohol to Peter Lagat. Akaingia kwa Land Rover ya white, and then he was shot at close range in the head. Now, what did Peter Lagat has already been apprehended by the police to be arraigned at the Makadara Law Court on Monday, I guess. And he says that he fired the gun by mistake. It was not intentional. Okay, let's assume it was not intentional. But in the head, at close range, then something ain't adding up. There's something that we have to question. Well, maybe he never meant to do it. Maybe alikuwa anataka tu kumtishia. But why would it be by mistake? Then it means that the gun was cocked. It had been cocked, so it was ready to shoot. Why would you threaten someone while you've already cocked the gun? Something mysterious, right? Well, I would want to blame it on the alcohol, because as always, alcohol is the devil's drink, and a lot of violence comes along with alcohol. But at the same time, people also tend to misuse alcohol in the sense that nitafanya hivi, nitakuja nikunywa alafu niende nikamtusi ama nikampige ndio isemekanange nilikuwa nimelewa. Well, on a counter argument, I will always say that mtu amelewa anaongeanga ukweli na anafanyanga ile kitu the real self would want to. What they can't do when they are sober is what actually they do, is what actually they are able to do when drunk. So that's why for me, I feel like Peter Langat will serve some long jail time. And it's so sad to lose a young man, a 24-year-old man. I was actually reading from the paper that the mother is saying that this boy had just a few weeks ago, he came home, bought her milk, and told the mother that this is a fruit of my first salary. Little did she know that that was the last time that she would have a taste of her son's money. Sad. And with the shooting and killings that are going on, we just have to wonder, what is the end goal of all these shootings and killings? What happened to peace? What happened to living in harmony? Why would you have to walk with a gun? Why would you have it cocked while you are in the middle of taking alcohol or kujiburudisha? Because I believe this guy had parked somewhere at a petrol station, a park and chill situation, kinda. But why did he have to shoot the man? What was the motive? He says it was by mistake. But would you cock a gun by mistake and shoot at close range by mistake? There must have been a motive. What was the altercation? Anyway, whether he tells us or not, but I see someone going to prison and serving a long time. Anyway, as we talk about serving prison a long time, we know that in Kenya, justice comes at a price. And actually, if you can buy justice, if you have money, you can always buy justice, can't you? It's almost a fortnight since the issue of Albert Ojwang hit the headlines. And Eliud Lagat, the DIG of police, has been on fire. It sparked outrage from the citizens. We've seen parliamentarians speak about this issue, several groups. It's in everyone's mouth. Even the newborn child now, a child who is born today, knows a thing or two about Albert Ojwang's murder because it's literally in everyone's mouth. While the drama is unfolding day by day, and actually this man has been called and been interrogated by the IPOA, although it was behind cameras, but says that it was a really frustrating and humbling moment for him. I don't know how true that is, because this is someone who represents impunity, and I feel that the system would actually defend him to the last ounce of their blood. They will defend him like a wounded lion because they know he does the dirty work for them. We saw Esther Passaris claiming to be an alibi. I was with Lagat on that material date. But Wakenya walimfanyia ile kitu. Well, another idiot was there yesterday. I think it's yesterday or the day before yesterday. Well, he's been speaking. I'm talking about this Didmas Barasa. So, Titmas was out to defend DIG Lagat and was talking about the kind of pressures that the police undergo. And he actually said that he regrets Lagat's resignation. For one, Lagat did not resign. He stepped down, which is not legal in the first place. There's nothing like stepping down. You should resign, and he should be in jail already, that as we talk as of now. But the worst part about Kenya is that the more you hear someone speak, they just raise your anger. You just feel Mtu anakukasirisha tu bure. You were just having a good day until you got online and watched Didmas Baraza talk. And then you wonder, is this the kind of leaders we have? Are these the kind of leaders we elected, surely? Because I couldn't help but wonder, why would Didmas think in this way? But at the end of the day, he's someone who is trying to defend a system of impunity that he is actually benefited from. Didmas Baraza has actually been accused of killing someone. The facts are there. You can even try to watch on murder tapes by Brian Obuya actually captured the issue. And the evidence is there. There were witnesses. The body was there. Only the issue only came in on the murder weapon. So this guy shot someone, then went away in a polling station on the material day of election. Tulikuwa tunaelectiana lini? Tuesday? 9th, I think it was 9th of August 2022. Didmas Baraza shot, I can confidently say that, shot Brian Olunga and killed him. People were there, they saw it, they actually say it. This guy called Brian Aemba, who was the adversary who they were competing against, was also there. But this guy went into hiding for about 3 days, and actually police were looking for him. I think he gained the confidence when he knew that Kenya Kwanza had seized power. And so it would have been safe for him to move because there were people to protect him. But Didmas, if you are actually guilty, then why were you running? Why were you running? Why did you run away for 3 days? Well, for you to solve a murder case or for you to implicate someone for murder, there are usually 3 ingredients: the body, the murder weapon, and the scene of crime where it happened. The scene of crime was in a polling station. There was a murder weapon, which was Didmas Baraza's gun, and the body. Well, even after witnesses giving their account on the events that took place on that date, after a while, they started recanting their statement, changing their statement. So whether there were live witnesses, it couldn't happen. Because walitishiwa or something, they were coerced to do something, we all know that. Brian Olunga's father said of how he's received calls from top officials being told, don't follow up on this matter, we will pay you on this, blah, blah, blah. But that family only seeks for justice. That's all they want for their kin. But now, justice in Kenya, remember, it comes as a price. And if you don't have adequate money to buy justice, then you only have God to defend yourself. And actually, it really felt mediocre because the case was thrown away. And the reason behind that, the murder weapon that was used was not Didmas Baraza's. It's not that he was not seen doing the actual murder. He was seen doing it by so many people, and they were even talking about the number of guns that were in that place. The policeman who was manning the polling station, there was one for, and I think the other one was his. I don't think he's the guy who he was vying against had a gun. That's Brian Aemba, and actually came to learn that Brian Aemba, that one man that Brian Olunga was defending, is actually a lawyer. And not only a lawyer, he's been a magistrate for about 9 years. So I feel, Brian Aemba, if you are really a lawyer, why wouldn't you seek justice for that one man who lost his life trying to protect you? Ain't it the only right thing that you can do? Well, I don't want to judge him because I saw it from the murder tapes of his account of the story. But at the same time, I feel like you would have done more to seek justice, to pursue justice for this guy. Because when we are given such a shitty explanation as the murder weapon did not belong to Didmas Baraza, then you get wondering, is it about the murder weapon or who murdered? Because guns don't kill people, it's people who kill people. Anyway, since justice comes at a price, Didmas Baraza is here yapping, defending DIG Langat, flying choppers and shitting on people. But one day, on a day that ends with a Y, Ruto will be gone, the system will be gone, and this kind of people, the likes of Baraza, the likes of Langat, the likes of Pasaris, will face jail time. Remember, he who takes you to prison is worse than the one who has killed you. We know the perfect recipe for you guys. Moving on swiftly to maandamano and its shenanigans. We've been talking about how we've witnessed state-sponsored goons being used to disrupt people, peaceful protesters during maandamano. Well, it's always in the politicians' playbook, the dirty politics playbook, to divide and rule. But in as much as they are trying to divide and rule, we are coming to realize that our strength is in our unity. But we can never rule out the power of divide and rule. And actually, there was one guy who used to call himself the professor of politics. Was he really the professor of politics? MO1. The master of idiots. Was he really the professor of politics? Because he was only a professor at divide and rule. When multipartyism came back in 1992? Yeah, in 1992. This guy actually divided the opposition. So kura zikagawana between, I think it was Matiba and Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. So they split the votes, and Moi ended up winning that election with 36%. So 36% against the 64% that was split among Jaramogi and Matiba. If I'm not, I think it was Matiba that time, but I stand to be corrected. I was not born then, so don't blame if my facts are not right. Don't blame me. So through divide and rule, the master of idiots was able to rule Kenya with an iron fist for 24 years. Well, he is someone's sensei. He was someone's master. That man is in power. Kasongo cannot be allowed to do the same. And I'm actually proud of what Rigiji has been doing politically, trying to lock him out everywhere. I really hope that he won't divide the opposition in any way. The more united we are, the easier it is for us to kick him out. But the moment that these people start dividing us, then we are done and dusted. It's a wrap. It's a wrap like Moi. So we've seen how state-sponsored goons have been coming to the maandamano to disrupt and cause chaos, so that the police can come in and start shooting and say, oh, we were protecting property. Of course, goon number one, Sakaja, has been implicated directly to that. And I was really wondering, how did we get these people in power? Because if they are using goons to try and work together with police, then we are going back to the Mungiki era. And not only Mungiki, we've had quite a number of them in Kenya. Let me remind you. So apart from Mungiki that had dominated the Mount Kenya area and the Nairobi business community, we also had some sects called Sungusungu and Chinkororo in Kisii. Hao magaki walikuwa wanaua watu, wanakula watu mpaka watu wanasema ati wa Kisii wanakulanga watu, lakini sio wanakulanga watu, ni machinkororo. Chinkororo, or whatever it is. Sounds like such a bad name that were being used. We've also had Mitichakara and Bogimawe. Then the Kisumu 42 Brothers, the Mombasa Republican Council. All these gangs have always enjoyed the blessing and patronage of some of the powerful politicians just to do their dirty works, to counter other criminal gangs, to hurt innocent people. So Sakaja is reading from the same book, and during the recent maandamanos, he actually had Swale Sonko. Swale Sonko is a goon alikuanga under Sonko, that's why he's called Swale Sonko. And this other idiot called Gaucho. But at least Kenyans have really shown them that round here hatutaki nonsense. And with that, I actually saw Swale Sonko trying to apologize, saying that if he's wronged anyone, then he's sorry. That was never his intention. He only meant to create content. But we know you guys. And actually, if we cannot read from, if we are not to stop these things, then something worse will happen, because Rigiji had some really serious allegations that he put out against the president and the government in general. So listen to this. This is a part of an article that I drew from the Standard. Was it the Standard or Daily Nation? I believe this is Daily Nation. It says, the opposition led by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua said they were armed by... The opposition led by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua said that they were alarmed by the emergence of a dangerous and illegal alliance between the police and the goons. What is now clear is that the Kenya-led Haiti multinational security support mission was not a peacekeeping mission, but a benchmarking trip by Ruto on the use of militia to terrorize a nation on taxpayers' money. The opposition leaders claim. Well, those are really serious allegations, because we know Haiti is no longer governable. Why? Because polisi wameshindwa nguvu na the militia. And even forget about these allegations. I would want to believe what Gachagua says, because so far he's given a track record of the so-called truthful men. Whether the truths are half-truths or full truths or outright lies, we don't know that. But so far he's had a track record, a consistent record of showing that it is true. Well, I would like you to remember, and something I've always been talking about, the Sudan. We should look at Sudan and what is happening there. Janjaweed. Hiyo kitu mnaita RSF. What Hemedi heads there? Ni mungiki fulani inakuanga tu uko Sudan that was taken by Omar al-Bashir to help him exterminate a threat that was in Darfur back in 0203. Then akawachukua akawaongeza as part of the government's military, as a paramilitary, that they are supposed to support the government. But these are goons, and a goon will always be a goon. Watamgeuka, and that's why we are having all these wars in Sudan. Could Ruto be borrowing a leaf from Hemedi? They always say, show me your friends and I'll tell you your character. So could the president be learning a thing or two from Hemedi? And actually, as we talk about that, we've seen arms, Kenyan arms being found in Sudan that are meant to be used by this Janjaweed, the militia group. And that's why, actually, there's an investigation on why that the UN should investigate on how Kenya is involved in providing ammunition for that militia group, because it's actually said that the weapons that the police are using in Kenya are actually similar to the ones in Sudan. There was a report by the Daily Nation, not the Daily Nation, but NTV. There was a video that they were showing where these ammunitions were found, and they actually had they actually showed that they were meant for Kenya. So how did they get to Sudan? Of course, Gava iliruka hiyo story kama kangaroo, and at the end of the day, we are on ourselves. So, but the good thing about it is that the government will use militia to create an illusion of divide and rule. And apart from that, instill fear. Actually, there was a guy who was forced into admission, one of the goons, who said that actually the instructions were that they were to stab a few women, because if you stab women, it will evoke more emotions as compared to stabbing a man. So stab a few women here and there, still there, and then it will be said, oh, maandamano imekuwa mbaya, nini nini, blah 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 blah. But then this one thing that these people forget, because the aim of doing that is to instill fear in people. Guys, the fear is gone. At this moment when I sit here behind the camera and just talk like a madman, it's because the fear is gone. I'm not scared anymore. If they were to come for me and kill me, then I'll just be dead. What is the worst that can happen? You can only die once. And actually, that is the spirit with most Gen Zs. When you don't have something to live for, then you can fight to the nail. And because the fear is no longer there, that's why we were able to use the capture and recapture method to seize these goons who were coming to cause disruption in the maandamano. But what is the end goal of this thing? What is the end goal? I feel as a nation, we have one shot at changing this thing. It's not the number of maandamanos that will go. It's not the number of videos that we will talk about these issues. It will all go down to the ballot. If we don't strike the snake on the head during the election period, then we are done and dusted. We are doomed. We are done forever. There's a song by, it's a Catholic song, Kaunga Yache. It's a Taita song, and says about how sin came to the world and destroyed our relationship with God. And in one of my favorite verses, I'm not really conversant with Kitaita. He says that if you don't strike the snake on the head, then it will come back. It will gain strength, or actually, its helpers or its friends will come and help it. It will gain strength, and then it will come back. So even from me, from the Kamba culture, I've been taught that ukipatana na nyoka, ua. Gonga kichwa, uwe. Because if you don't, it will always come back to bite you. And it will, actually in Kikamba kuna hiyo, tunasemanga, ukipatana na nyoka na ukose kukuua. There is a myth that hiyo nyoka ndio itakuja kukuua. Well, the snake that we are talking about in Kenya, and that we are trying to strike on the head, is actually a few things that have: one, corruption. I would actually call it systematic corruption, impunity, having hooligans in parliament, because it takes a hooligan to call other hooligans to do their dirty work, right? So we have hooligans in parliament, and it's not only in parliament but also in opposition. So the only way we have out, our only way out is striking the serpent's head and elect a fresh crop of leaders. And actually, we have a shot at electing better leaders on account of values, what they've done before, not how much money they are splashing, not how well equipped with Matusi, or they are able to shame the other party. No, it should be about values. And that's why I've always been saying that in as much as we want Kasongo to go, Rigiji ain't an option. Matiang'i ain't an option. Matiang'i was responsible for Yala. We all saw what he did when he had power. Would you if Matiang'i alitusumbua hivyo akiwa interior na akikuwa president? How about Rigiji? Don't you remember what he said about maandamano when he was in government? Kasema ati the police are not coming to greet you, or I don't remember the exact words he said, but he was supporting the police and he akaongea mbaya sana. So just because now he's in the opposition does not mean that since he's changed course that he's worth trusting. Well, there is always a chance to do the right thing. And good news is that Maraga has announced that he will be vying for presidency. And I personally feel that I will be among the bandwagon that will vehemently, with a lot of energy, campaign for Maraga's presidency, for Omutata's presidency. Because at the end of the day, these are the crop of leaders. We know them. Matiang'i, Rigiji, Kalonzo. It's same old, just replacing shit with shit. What is the difference between Rigiji of the past and Rigiji of now? Just that he doesn't have power. And when he had power, we know what he did. Well, when Maraga announced that he will be vying for presidency, he made a number of promises. That was, I think, yesterday on an interview on NTV. He said that he will work on fighting corruption, restoring the rule of law, and bring an end to impunity and police brutality. That will be his top priority if he is elected as the 6th president of Kenya. And I would really like him to do that. He's actually promised that he's not going to dish out funds, because whoever gives you money, then they've bought your soul. You eat their money, then you've been bought. And even if you've not been bought, this person goes to the position of power with something in mind. Kwanza, kabla ya anything else, I'm going to return my money back. I have to get my money back. How much did Ruto spend during the campaign? And actually feel that the reason as to why Ruto has been pushing issues like Adani, hizi mambo na Sudan, I feel the reason as to why he has to push that, it's because of the kickbacks that he received, because maybe these are some of the people who funded his campaign. And by all means, campaigns are an expensive affair in Kenya, aren't they? So where did you expect him to get his money back? With interest plus profit. So it's not a wonder that he's doing that. So if we are able to elect leaders who have not spent big amounts of money, then they will not have that feeling of, I really need to recoup back my investment, because public service is not about yourself, but it is for others. But if you are out there doing it for others, then sad. It's so sad that at the moment, we can't trust what the government says. That a president can stand in front of people, talk, and you really don't know whether is he talking the truth or not. You don't know when he's saying something that is true or untrue. You doubt. The president gives you his word, and then you can't follow it. I always say that as a man, your word is your bond. How about a president's word? A president's word. When a president issues a directive or says things, if as a man I told you I'll visit you on Saturday, I surely will. And if I don't, then I should tell you prior, because your word is your bond. How about a president's word? Should always be his bond. But right now, we don't trust the government. It's hard to trust the government, because I was actually saying kamim kalikuwa kanatembea online. It's not a meme actually, it was a question on social studies. I don't know if it's social studies or CRE. Which is the most safe place to be? At a police station, at a stranger's house. I don't remember the other options. No, the question was actually, which is the most dangerous place to be at? At a police station, at home, at a stranger's place, and I don't remember the other option. But they were asking which is the most dangerous place. And of the 4 options, because it's a primary school, question said, kulikuwa na police station. Well, the natural thing to say is that the most safe place for someone would be a police station. But would we really say that? For that teacher who is marking that exam, if a learner said that the police station is the most unsafe place that they would ever be, would you penalize them really? Because ain't that the truth? Ain't that the true state or the true account of events that are happening in Kenya? Because 1 + 1 is always 2. And remember, I told you, even a newborn right now has heard about Albert Ojwang so far. So we are looking forward to restoring trust in our government, and it won't be by electing the same crop of leaders. Kenyans, kama tunataka tufikirie. The likes of Maraga, Omtata will be in the ballot. Ruto, Gachagua, and his bandwagon, Kina Matiang'i, will be there. Do you want the same type of leaders, or do you want a fresh crop of leaders that will be able to put some lasting change in the nation? And above all, restore the lost trust. Because, my friend, when trust is broken, then even relationships, you can't make it in any relationship when trust is broken. How can we trust the government when it's working with people, goons? How will you trust the government? Right now, I see someone, nikiona tu Land Rover ya polisi, I'm just scared. Not like I've done something wrong. I'm not scared because I'm on the wrong. But I'm scared. Even if it's not myself, it could be someone else who's in trouble. I really don't trust when the government comes and apprehends someone. When the police come and apprehend someone. Could they have done something wrong or right? Actually, it's been proven that in Kenya, you'll be killed for doing the right thing. You'll do something right, like Albert Ojwang tried to expose something wrong. You'll find yourself in jail. Remember the lady who was alitengeneza place ya kuvote about the finance bill? Well, the case has been kicked away. That is something that we are really grateful, and I really hope that she will sue those people for damages. But even as she's suing the government for damages, you are like, her intentions were so clean. She did not have aqua nataka ati aqua na any ill intentions, but because of people who work with impunity, they actually even didn't know what they were charging her for, but they put her behind bars for about, I think it was well over 3 days. Now the case has been dismissed. Upuzi tu. Anyway, always talking about Kenyan's politics, asiranomita itafika 150 kilometers per hour. I just want to stop at this point and really thank you for taking your time to listen to me and always tuning into the Tony's Pod. We promise to always tell the Kenyan story as raw and as interesting as it is. If you really think that this episode made you happy or sparked your thoughts, always feel free to just touch that button down there, like, subscribe, put down some comments, share this link with someone who might need to listen to this, or you feel that you share the same opinion. And above all, remember to stay informed, stay bold, and until next time, just remember to keep questioning, keep caring, be your brother's keeper, and always keep the conversation going.